Greetings, family. I am back. I hope that you had a chance to get something to drink, something to eat. I hope you stretched a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I laid across the bed and I was like, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. And it felt good. It felt good, but it's okay. I am up. I'm up for at least an hour more. I wanted to spend some time with you and talk a little bit. Let's see what we have here. Um, I'll turn the volume down. So I told you that I was going to be going live, and so here I am. I'm waiting for Shantae White of Travel with Tay Tay. She's going to be coming in, and then we're going to get this party started. Let me make sure that I don't have her waiting somewhere in the wings and I'm not aware of it. Okay, I think I'm fine. So let's talk a little, give her a chance to come in. And also you'll see that in the comments section, I put the link to StreamYard in case anyone else wants to come on board. So I'm still very new to streaming. I just finished streaming from YouTube and through Zoom. And now I am streaming on YouTube through StreamYard. And as a secretary, I always enjoyed or was familiar with Zoom and presenting on my screen and sharing. So, but they do have this here. I'll just have to get used to it. Anyway, let me reintroduce myself. Let me take this off so there is no glare. Hopefully you will not see my red eyes. I am Miss L or Lesline Hendrickson. That's the name that my mama done gave me, also known as Ma'at on the mat. Lately, I've been saying to people that, when I'm speaking my truth, sometimes the Bronx in me comes out, and some people are a little surprised by it, but I'm Ma'at on the mat. When I'm off the mat, I'm just me, and it depending on what we're talking about and how I feel, it could go any way. I'm trying not to rock, I'm gently rocking myself to sleep. I'm thinking the movement will help keep me awake, but instead it is rocking me to sleep. So let me continue with my topic for discussion. And if you're unable to join me now, maybe in the comment section when this is posted to YouTube, you will make comments. So let me just recap the recap. First of all, it is Saturday morning at 1 o'clock. 1:07 a.m. to be exact, and I'm listening to a plane. I don't hear the planes come and go very often. I live, my home in Queens is near JFK Airport. So I'm used to hearing planes come and go on a regular basis. When I hear a plane in the Gambia, it's like, oh, there's a plane. So Moroccan Air Air Morocco, I think they arrive around this time. I think people are usually getting picked up about 2 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, I think I did that once and it was not an enjoyable experience. I think I took a nap because I knew I was going to have to get up later and go. So, my recap of the recap was that I really, really think that it is important to model this pod program. People were like, well, we need to have a database. And the database requires putting it in the cloud or putting it somewhere, um, kind of like having a questions and answer sheet, which was actually something that I had been working on. And I'll need to revisit that again because there are certain questions that you will or should be asking, and you want to be sure to get as much of the important information that you need. And the first place to do that is um, writing the information down on the sheet of paper, or the fastest way would be to write it and then have it available. But honestly, I mean, I had a bale of paper that somebody gave me. I don't know what I did with it. And so, and I had a notebook, and then I stopped carrying the notebook. But as I'm saying that, I know where it's at now. And then the easiest way would be to fill something out and store it on your phone. But if you're here long enough and you take enough pictures and chronicle what you're doing, you end up losing a lot of storage on your phone. And so I'm constantly deleting stuff. I was actually looking for a particular picture to share with someone, and I realized that I deleted it. I needed space on my phone. So it was a little heartbreaking for me, but it was a moment that, or those moments, I guess I want to say, because I had shared with the moments on YouTube, I could release those. So that is the recap. Really making those connections and strengthening them. And we are, a lot of the things that I did, let me see, from the time I got, a lot of the things were already being done. They just needed to be done more, done more, done with more intention, done often, done with more intention and purposefulness, and be like, yo, you're getting out the house today, you know. So I wanted to talk about the process of land buying, or just land in general. Let's talk about acquiring land. I'll talk about my experience to a certain extent, and then I would teach you what I've learned, because these are opportunities for us to do better. When you know better, you do better. My live stream, it says that, my Wi-Fi is not the best all the time, excuse me. So let me check on my phone first and see how I'm doing. And then I'm gonna let, okay. Excuse me while I send this message. Okay. So, thank you. Um, I was getting ready to say to you that common sense, there she is. Greetings, sister. How are you? So, Travel with Tay Tay is in the comment section. Let me see, does my volume need to go up? I'm talking a little softly because I'm a little tired. Let's see if that's better. I don't want to lull everybody to sleep. So Shantae, I'm talking about my experience purchasing land. Okay, cool. She's coming on. So I'll wait because that was a topic that I think that you had more information to give or to share your opinion of. And I'm of the opinion that, well, there are two things. If you're just buying land, if you just want to buy land, I would say buy land in the United States. I'm talking to people in the States. I was having a conversation with someone today, and they were like, well, if you want to get land, you can get land in the States. You know, there's land for sale in the States and it's out in the open, and you would have to, do exactly what we're doing here. You would be living remotely and have to carve out the roads and all of that. But it's more than about buying land, isn't it? It's about buying land in Africa. And that's the difference. So she says to go ahead. I'm going to tell you my story without telling you all of my business. Let's see. First of all, I would never advise anyone to do what I did. Knowing what I know now. And I recently had a conversation with a couple of people, and I told them that I would never get into the land buying business or the land selling business. I think it's too iffy. And they were like, no, no, if anyone could do it, it would be you. And we trust you with our money. And I was like, you shouldn't. Realistically, you shouldn't. You really don't know me that well. But that has to do with a desire to be here and to practice Pan Africanism. See how I blended those two topics together? So let's go with land. Now that I'm here, I'll tell you what I told someone. There is someone who is selling off a large piece of land, and she's near someone that already has their compound built. And I said to her, you may want to reach out to the person who already has their compound and see if they would be interested, or reaching out to a group of people that she knows, family and friends, who would want to purchase the land next to hers. That way, she's already established, and then they can be established, her family and friends, and so on and so on and so on. That's how you create your community. We didn't know that. If you buy land online remotely and you've never really seen the land, I mean, look, let me just give some advice to people who are buying land, selling land. Show a map. If you're doing it seriously and you're honest about it, show a map and you say, this is where this land is available. But most of the people uh, do their daily living way down here. So, and it would take you that, okay, from here to Senegambia, it may take you 40 minutes to drive. Thankfully, the roads have improved, so it's a little bit faster, but depending on your situation, it could be longer or shorter. If you're on a gully or a town trip, a regular taxi, it may take you longer. But I didn't think to ask. I didn't think to be like, okay, where exactly is that? I couldn't ask, was it close to Senegambia? Because I didn't know anything about Senegambia. I saw a few things on you know, YouTube, but I went in with blindfolders on, blinders, and I think that a lot of people did. And I said that this is the only country I know of that I've been to where they could you could end up buying property before you leave the country and never even had an intention to buy. You get out of the plane, you get into the taxi, and right away your taxi driver is telling you that he's into real estate too, and he could get you this really great deal. And you'd be like, oh, I bought mine online. You're late to the party. And that can go many different ways. So when you know better, you do better. I would not say to do it. Now, I told a friend of mine what I was doing, and she says, well, before you do that, make sure that you get an attorney and you have them look at the papers and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, how do I even know if the attorney that I get is going to be honest enough or qualified to provide me the information that I'm looking for? And I said, I'm just going to do it. It's like buying a car that looks good on the outside, but you don't know what it looks like on the inside, and chances are it's scrappy. But they got that car going. And so when they give it to you, the engine is revved up and it's looking good and the music is playing from the stereo. But they may tell you, don't take that, don't take the key out, just keep that engine running. That was kind of the same thing. I wanted to keep the engine running. The idea of getting land in Africa for a relatively low price seemed appealing to me, to the point where I didn't want to tell people that may not be the wisest thing to do. So I didn't tell them. And yeah, I have a built on one of my properties, but I bought two. Luckily, the plan was to build on the smaller one first, and it just so happens, thank the Most High, that I built on the larger piece first. And so when I went back to deal with the smaller one, all of a sudden there was a spirit of confusion that rolled up or rose up. And I thought, okay, I'm not doing this. Let me put that aside because I had already been forewarned. So when I'm talking about real estate, because the reality is that people are going to buy land. You we're risk takers. Sometimes, you want what you want when you want it, and so we're risk takers, and we're going to buy the land anyway. We're going to uh, take the risk. And so when that happens, you need to be connected to people that can assist you. And I can't recommend anyone right now, but be here on the ground when you do decide to consider purchasing. Be here on the ground when you are making the purchase. You don't even want to have someone send you a video or FaceTime you from their phone. Not you're not doing any of that because you won't even know what you're looking at. You won't even know you won't know. Heck, you won't even really know for sure when you get here. But it would be better for you to not know while here than to not know while being back in the States or any other place that you are out of the Gambia when you consider buying land in the Gambia. I'm going to keep this short. And then if Shantae wants to do this another time, we can, because I do want to get her take on this, because we've been talking behind the scenes a lot. So yeah, I do know that the cost of purchasing land has gone up. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the price. It's what they're asking for, and they'll try to ask as much as they possibly can. I mean, we were talking today. I was talking with someone. Usually, there is a listing that you go to, and you can see what sales have been made in your neighborhood and what the comparable prices were. And does your compare? This is a certain house, a certain size, a certain lot, a certain location, and it's sold at this amount on that day. And based on that, a similar lot in that same size and location should be going for that amount of money, maybe a little bit more. But land is quadrupled. It's more than doubled. So when you're negotiating, you can't say, well, I'll give you half. You want 26, I'll take it off your hands for $13,000. And they'll jump at it because it's significantly lower than that. So that is the problem. So you got to be like, no, you name the price. We're adding Travel with Tay Tay to the stage. Greetings,
Greetings.
sis. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Miss L?
Girl, I'm hurting inside. I'm
I know
hurting.
you. I know you tired. I know you are tired.
Yes, but
But
it's
thank
going to
you
be
so
great.
much.
You're
Thank you so much.
welcome.
And I enjoyed your live just before this. It was very informative. We really do appreciate the boots on the ground,
Yeah,
and
we
you
need
all
it.
are our eyes and ears at times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There are, I keep saying people are still coming,
Hmm.
you know, and so what we need to do is try to be a resource as much as possible. And how can I say this gently, without getting anything in return. And I say that because integrity can kind of sway. It starts to teeter totter a little bit when you put a dollar sign on things. It's
Mhm.
it's hard. It's hard because it's a challenge trying to keep your word here because I could listen. I could be very sincere with what I want to offer you, but I don't have the authority or the real knowledge to assist you. So I have to rely on somebody else.
Mhm.
And then that puts me in a position where not only is the person that I'm trying to help being taken, but I'm being taken too.
Mhm.
And that becomes the challenge for me. So I say the less that I'm asking for, um, I guess the less guilt I would have.
Yeah, it's like a catch 22 because let's keep it real. When we're on the ground, we can run through that Delasi like it's water in our pockets, right?
Yes, yes.
So none of us have an endless stream of income where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna
Mhm.
go to my tree and get money, get money. So I feel like it depends on what you're doing. If someone asks me, hey, can you go and check and see if this place is real? Okay, I can do that. If it's not in, you know, West Africa, no. I was about to say something, but if it's not super duper far away, because we know that
Exactly.
the gas prices are not cheap. If it's in the area of or the vicinity that I live in, fine, let me go check that out for you. But
Mhm.
I think also we can be um a resource, but and I see that the subscribers, they're not they are not against paying or blessing you with something because they know that time is money you
Right,
know but I do understand that it's not about cutting someone's head off,
right,
or charging all this money. It is about making, giving them an opportunity to travel to Africa, to the Gambia specifically, have a good time, and maybe look at some property and things and have it in their mind or an option to move there.
right.
And we can't make anyone do anything or we can't turn people away. But I feel like being that resource to them for them will assist all of us. And it would create this community that we were trying to do 4 years ago,
Mm.
right?
But also, you're not going to get a U.S. salary. You're going to get a Gambian salary until things pick up, until more people come your way. But I feel like the more money that is interpreted that you have, I'm talking in code here, so you know what I'm trying to say. The perception that you have a lot will increase the cost of things. So you could be like, okay, well, we're going to get together and we're going to do this thing, and it should cost this amount.
Mm-hmm.
But then when other people see that, hey, look what's happening over here, let me put my tendons in there and get some of that too.
Mm.
Then you have other people siphoning off the funds. And so what could be inexpensive becomes being expensive. And I think that's where you find this Delasi like water. You can't
Correct.
even really grab on it because the reality is that nothing here is cheap. If
Mm-mm.
if the price of food and gas and rent is going up in the United States,
Hmm.
why would it not go up here?
Correct. Correct.
Especially as more Americans come and
Hmm.
they want American food. They
Hmm.
want the food that are in the American stores here that's targeted toward us. There's Quaker, there's
Hmm.
Kellogg's.
Hmm.
These box cereals are in the stores, and you're going to pay for it.
But this is why I'm sorry. This is why
Mhm.
I just feel like, when I was on, I think I said this to you behind the scenes when I was on the Happy Companions live. I just hopped in the comments, and there was another YouTuber that was saying that, the other non-Africans that come to the Gambia, they do this together. They don't have any nonsense and things going on. And I was thinking it's because they work together. What if
Mhm.
we had our own supermarket?
Can I also tell you something too? They've
Mm.
been established longer in the country. We're new to the country.
Yep. Yep.
There are some that have been here. They
For
don't really.
generations.
Yes. Yeah.
So much so that they say that they're Gambian because they were
Yeah.
born there,
You
right?
see,
And
and
I just
there
say your people just have been there, and that just shows that they've been in the country for a long, long time. And
and they
what
were.
has
But
happened
weren't
with
they
the
also
Gambia?
merchants? They were also
Hmm.
merchants.
Yeah.
So now
And
here we are coming.
mm,
We are new.
correct.
We're like, well, what do we do? How do
We're
we
new,
make
and we also don't get the same um reception that they get,
right
right?
that red carpet?
Correct. So, we have to, if we're going to come to the table and have conversations, we have to be honest with ourselves. And it's not just the African Americans and the people from the West that are coming, but the continental Africans as well. Let's be
Yes.
honest.
Hmm.
These people are not their friends. Lebanese, Chinese, they're not having dinner with the Gambians. They're not hanging with the Gambians. They're not hanging with the quote unquote locals. I don't like saying that, but for people
Right.
that don't understand, right? They're not interacting with them the way we are. So we become a target because we're
Yes.
interacting. Should we
Yes.
behave like them? And that's a
Well,
question that I posed to the YouTuber that was on the channel. Is should we behave like them? Because if we
mm,
start to behave like them and we create our own, we live with around our own, we shop within our own, what is that going to do to the Gambian community?
yeah.
That's just that when he said that, that came to my mind. And I feel like, yes, we should create things for each other, right? For the African Americans coming over, we need to look out for each other because we are strangers in a new land and we don't really know too much about anything. And people look like us and they smiling and we are getting screwed left, right, and all around.
Put
So,
that put a pin in that for a minute. First of all, I want to welcome Miriam Howard for coming in and commenting. She says, "Hello, ladies," in chat. She also says, "As the country grows, prices will grow as well." And I do agree. And what happens too is when more Americans come, the store owners feel like they can raise their prices because there is a demand for the item. And I have seen, for instance, this is not even an American product, BOP. You know, BOP, the insect repellent spray.
yes,
That's the best. They need to have that in America. It would be banned there because they just kill everything like a
it
get
does.
spray bop on the gecko will die. I
Hmm.
think if you spray bop on a snake, the snake is going to die.
Hmm.
But when I first got here, bop was 90 Dalasi, 90. Now it's like 140
Oh,
something.
wait, because I think when I got it, I don't notice the name, but they did tell
Mhm.
me about, the best insect repellent spray because they have those King Kong cockroaches that, Lord, I'm like, you could have the house, you can have the whole thing. I would just go and sleep in the
Thankfully, I
car.
have not seen those. Thankfully, I
Whew,
have not seen those because I
Jesus.
would just move out.
Yeah,
I
those
couldn't
things, they will
live.
take over your life. But when I purchased it, I think it was, I don't know if that's the same one, maybe it's a different brand, but it was $250.
Ooh.
So imagine paying $5 for some insect. This is why I say,
Mhm.
I look, I may not live in the Gambia, but Tete is going to do business in the Gambia because the Gambia is a developing country and it's a way to make money. Weren't we talking about
Mhm.
Zoom and investing
Right.
into Zoom? And then nobody was really
Yes.
using Zoom until COVID. And now look,
Exactly.
those
Exactly.
investors, the people that got dividends, woo, they got some money there. They
They
have
got
some money
money.
now.
They got
But
money.
I do plan to have a supermarket because we're from America. We want certain things. You know,
Okay,
some of the
so
Mhm.
are you getting a building? Are you doing your own building? Are you renting somebody else's build?
So honestly, I want to I want to be a I want to sell it wholesale. So I want to sell
Okay.
it to people that already have stores because I don't want to when you go there, you
Yes.
want to be a little,
Yes.
you want to have a little freedom, right?
That's
So
right.
if I'm doing wholesale, then I'm supplying other people and it's sold before it gets off the shipping container. But
Exactly.
I'm going to say this, Tay doesn't want to do this alone. You know what I
Okay.
mean? When we
Mm.
came together with investors and things like that, it's just that now the what does the Bible say about the weeds and the flowers and the weeds and the
Separate. Yeah,
they
the
grow
hair.
together, but they
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they get separated. And that's really interesting. Something to think about for sure, because there are more people traveling back and forth from the States and the Gambia. I do have a friend. She said to me, "This is my address down south. If it's in Atlanta or the South Carolina, you can have some stuff shipped there, and I'll bring it over on a container." So people are bringing things, and that makes more sense. But so I'm really funny about certain things. So I believe that it's the American diet that can cause us to have illnesses,
Mhm.
and by leaving the diet in America, our bodies can get healing. So now, if we're attached to those comfort things,
Mhm.
what does that do for us?
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Miss L. But then on the business side, we have to think about we have to meet people where they are, right?
Okay.
And everyone is not there, right? There are some people just speaking from experience, some people didn't want to hang around with me because I try to live a healthy lifestyle. So, but people wanted the fried chicken and the macaroni and cheese and what is that?
Skittles.
And we and sometimes we're always not going to get it right, right?
Exactly.
Let's
I was like, it's comfort food, and yes,
Mhm.
please don't talk about fried chicken and macaroni and cheese, cause
You know,
yeah, because
I don't get me wrong. I used to love fried chicken and macaroni and cheese, right? Now I
I
got to make some
still
chicken dip,
do. I
right?
still do.
And
You
it's
know.
okay in moderation, right? It's okay in moderation. But if we're going out to, if we're moving to Africa and we're going out to eat and we're eating the same things that we ate in America, for
Mm,
me, not speaking for
right.
anyone else, for me, I'm
Right.
like, Shantae, what are you doing? You could have stayed in
Right.
America for this,
Right. Right.
So and having options on the business side. Now, yes, I agree with you. The American food is why we're on a lot of medication, why people, thank God I'm not, but people are on a lot of different medications and things like that. But on a
Mhm.
business side, we have to bring what is in demand, right?
Yes.
So, um, it's we still, even if it's not the foods, Miss L, like look at how much toilet paper costs. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a big toilet paper
Yeah.
user there because I love my water. I have my tea kettle here, right?
I
But
can't do that.
I'll tell you
I,
about it.
I don't
I
know
brought
how
me a
that
tea
works.
kettle back. I brought me a tea kettle back because I can't,
Really?
girl. Yes, I
Oh.
can't. I love that Muslim toilet, so I can't live with. I don't feel clean if I go to the restaurant without water
Mm.
now. So I bought me one of the tea kettles that they use for the ablution, right? So I bought mine back. But and they have on Amazon, they have the what is it called? Um we call it the Muslim toilet, so I forgot the US name for
Bidet.
it. Bidet, thank you. So
Bidet.
they have those
Mhm.
on Amazon where you can connect them to your toilets. But what I'm
Okay.
saying is paper
Mhm.
towels, I use special soap. Yes, I find it in the Gambia.
Mhm.
They want $6 for a damn bar of soap.
Mhm.
So even if
Mhm.
we just have our own supermarket to make them bring their dang on prices down, then that's what we should do. This is what
Mm.
Uncle Yaya used to do, right? The
Oh,
Chinese people be out there at the beach selling their fish and it's expensive. So he comes out there with all this fish and he tells them 50 dalasi, 100 dalasi. Now, if the Chinese people
mm.
want money, what are they going to do? Drop those daggone prices.
Right,
Look at what the
right.
Lebanese are charging. $6 for barbecue sauce when we can get that for two of them from Costco. And they're
And
bringing it from
then,
Costco.
so then we're going to factor in the delivery, the cost of shipping it. How does that change the cost of that barbecue sauce?
Correct. Correct. Now, there are different, I'm happy you talked about that because I'm releasing a video in regards to shipping tonight. There's 1 week. If anyone wants anything, if there are any Americans on here, anyone listens to the replay, if you need something and you need it shipped, there's a shipping container leaving on May 3rd. May 1st is the deadline, right? Now,
Mhm.
when it comes to shipping, there are different ways to ship, right? Say you just want to ship, because when it comes to business for me, Miss L, I always start things small. If I
Okay.
start small and I lose, then okay.
Mhm.
I'm mad, but I'm not that
You're
mad.
learning, right, but you're learning, yeah.
Yeah. So say a group of people start with, and I'm giving people business ideas. I don't care if someone takes my business idea, because when I do it, they're not going to do it the way I do it, right?
Exactly.
People always say you're telling too much and this, that, and the third. I think that's why we're in the state that we're in, because we always want, I got to keep it for myself. There's enough money out here for all of us, right?
Exactly.
So say we
Exactly.
do a shipping barrel, not a shipping container, because shipping container costs 5,000,
Mhm.
6,000, a thousand to clear it. Okay, so let's say we just do barrels. You can get a tall
Okay.
70-gallon barrel for $200 shipping out of Raleigh, North Carolina, right?
Nice.
Now,
Nice.
$200 for the barrel. Now, you could supply your own barrel. He's going to charge you. This guy charges $200 for the barrel. Now, if you buy your own barrel from Craigslist or what's the other one, Facebook Marketplace, then you can pay, is you're going to pay for your barrel, right?
Okay.
$30, $25, whatever they charge. But then the shipper is still going to charge you 200. But guess what?
Mm.
All you have to do is pack that barrel, pack it, pack it, pack it, pack it. You could fill it till you can't fill it anymore. Now
Wow.
imagine filling all of those with just straight barbecue sauce. I'm just saying,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
So that's how you cut your. Now, if you send 5 of those and you have, that's $1,000, and you pack those barrels till you can't pack them anymore, and then you promote on WhatsApp, because I was telling you that's how the
Mhm.
Gambians promote on
Right,
their
right.
status, right? And you letting people know that it's coming. Now, yes, it has to be some other things that's going on behind the scenes, but this is how you keep your shipping costs low. And if you have someone else to go in with you, that's even better.
Mhm.
But you start
Nice.
with a few barrels, you see what your profit is going to be. You add the profit and the loss, but it's not too much loss because it's only $200. Once
Mm,
you
yeah,
pay that
yeah.
barrel, that's it. You don't
You're
have
good.
to clear it. The person that's doing the shipping container has to clear the shipping container.
I like that. I
Hmm.
like that. Also because we're just talking. That's nice for, like, let's say Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
We want to sometimes have a Thanksgiving meal. We want the cornbread. Can somebody please put some Jiffy cornbread in the barrel and send it here? Okay.
I think it's there. It's just too expensive.
I haven't seen any.
It's there. It's at this it's at sorry, Miss Miriam. Miss Miriam says she got her bidet. I know that's right. It's a store in front of Kasumai. I always pronounce that wrong. But I think it's called what is that store called? Oh Lord. Okay, so you know, it's a supermarket. It's a supermarket. Yeah, it's a supermarket.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Johnny's. I can't remember. It's so crazy because I used to go to that supermarket all the time.
J&J? Is it called J&J?
JJ's, JJ, something like that.
Yes. Okay.
Right? It's at the Bigelow Junction.
I know which one you're talking about. I have not been in that.
So it's Lebanese owned. You're gonna try to tell me he's from Sierra Leone. You know, I went there because it was close to where I was living. A lot of times I don't want to go to the Lebanese owned stores because guess what? They're not pumping their money back into the Gambia. Right? They're not. They're paying as less taxes as they can, paying people $30 a month, whatever, right? So, but I had to go there. Now, they have a lot of stuff there, right? They have the Jiffy. It is a little bit more expensive. I think I've seen it at Maroons as well. But there is someone that's in the Gambia. He is Gambian. That he has two American supermarkets. And I'm happy that you brought this up because if there's anyone that is in the Gambia that wants specific things, shoot me an email, let me know, and he will order it and make sure it is on his shelves, including electronics, right? These people got iPhones and then they're buying these little Chinese chargers and the chargers are good for 1 month, right? We can take advantage of being African Americans. We have access to things that people don't have access to.
Yes.
Right? So yeah, if there are people that want to go in with me, it's just my thing is right now I can only do wholesale. I can't really open up any businesses because I do not live there. And we're smart enough to not open up anything if we're not there. Because the Americans that are there, they're like, y'all don't want to have no full-time jobs, getting up, going to work every day. No,
we don't.
Exactly.
No, we don't. Unfortunately, because we have a lot of resource and information that we could share, but most of us are retired and tired. So it's like, no, I'm not trying to do that. I come here to be on the beach and to relax and go to the spa and do some water classes.
But let us pick your brains though, right? Let the young people that are not ready to retire, because I told you I have 20 more years. I was on track to retire at 50 and then all this stuff happened. So I'm going to keep fighting and hopefully I can still retire early and live there in the next 3 to 5 years or live somewhere on the continent. But we still need you all. You all have resources and skills that you have attained throughout your whole career. And even if we just take y'all out to dinner and we just picking your brain and writing notes, we need that because you all are our elders. You all are our pillars. And how can we move on? We all have something to bring to the table, right? So when y'all have those group get-togethers, I think we should also have maybe a monthly meeting. Right?
Oh God, can we just party?
Yes, we can party. We're gonna do a little work first and then we're gonna party.
So there are different people who are getting involved in different things. What I try to do is I try to connect people to other people.
Correct.
I don't want to necessarily be doing stuff, but I'm like, hey, here's an idea. You try that. Or here's an idea. What do you think about that? You do it. I don't want to be one of those people that have my hands in everything. I want to stay in the field that I think I'm supposed to be in, which is movement and fitness, and try to hone in on that.
Mm-hmm.
so
And
that
delegating responsibilities.
exactly.
And that's, yes, and that makes sense because we all, like I always say, we all have something to bring to the table. You love fitness, I love fitness. Business management is my first degree, and
Mhm.
connecting people. That's the purpose of doing all this networking, because it's like,
Yes.
how many times do we say, "Hey, I need this," and it's like, "Oh, like I told you I was selling something," and then you connect
Mhm.
me with something. You know what I mean? That
That's
is
right. That's
having
right.
that line of communication open. We may not all talk to each other, but having that line of communication is the networking that we need. We
I
in the
agree.
Gambia, and we that's not our country, boo. That's
That's
not
right.
right.
And we need things. We need things, and it's like, okay, what do I do? And I've always been lucky that there's always someone telling me, oh, I'm going back, or they'll call me and say, I'm here. I have somebody blessed me and said, I'm returning and I'm going to be on air Brussels. And I have a suitcase that I'm not going to have filled, and you can get 50 pounds of whatever you want, and I'll be happy to bring it back to you. So
That's a
those
blessing.
kind of those things are what we need. If someone's coming to say, I need this. But I think that as as Gambia gets tiring,
Mhm.
people are leaving to take a break and come back. Now,
Correct.
when I worked, I went on vacation quarterly.
Mm,
And so now I'm getting like antsy. I want to go somewhere. I want to go somewhere besides Senegal,
mhm.
and then because the ferry isn't working properly, I think they have to carry you on their backs or their shoulders and hoist you up in some boat.
Oh, so
Yeah.
they're just using the boats now since both of the ferries are down?
Both of the ferries are down, and I don't know if they're using the boats from end to end or if they're using the boats to get to the bigger ferry. I'm not quite sure what they're
Oh,
doing, but it
Jesus.
just
That's
it doesn't,
horrible.
it sounds really bad. I'd rather fly.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
at this point, if I have to go there, I'd rather just fly.
Correct.
But
It takes
I'm,
long enough to get across the water within the ferry. You can
thank
imagine.
you.
And then
Can
look
you
at all the
imagine?
people that have to go back and forth.
Yes,
Oh my
that's right.
God.
Right. So I'm like, ooh, I think I'm gonna let that. Then I
Yeah.
told a friend, what if we just drive? There's a bridge, but I think it's a longer route. I don't know why they didn't build a bridge from Banjul to Barra.
That's what somebody was saying. That's what somebody was saying.
Who built
Um,
the bridge
well,
7 years? Yeah,
it
we ain't
makes
gonna talk
sense.
about that.
It
Yeah.
makes sense, but I all I'm gonna say is, we look at things that happen in America, and we
Yes.
see people that it's like, "Ooh, should I buy a house? No, I'm gonna buy this $50,000 car, right?" And
Hmm.
we're seeing, unfortunately, the priorities are not in order. That's all I'm
Exactly.
gonna say, but
Exactly. Yes.
yeah. So we were
Exactly.
talking about land. I'm sorry, because I know we'll be all
Yeah,
over the place. I absolutely
I
love
know,
talking.
right?
Um, I know you were saying how we all do want land, right?
Mhm.
Um, there are some African American people in America that have purchased land, and they have, yes, African American people that has purchased land. I want to make sure I'm using the proper grammar, but they've purchased land, they've built their home, but that's not the normal for most of us, right? That's not
Mhm.
our normal.
Mhm.
So when we look at, oh my goodness, I can purchase land for $1,200. I can get a hectare, even if for the working person, they're like, look, I'm gonna find that 1,200 from somewhere,
Right.
and I'm gonna pay
Right.
for that, right? Because we know that that's a
Right.
great deal. But then we
That's
don't know
right.
if it's real. And then how many people that paid 1,200, right? So I agree with you. We know now it sounded good. Now, let me just say this.
Excuse me.
Tay, you all know that Tay has never purchased any land. My purpose of going to the Gambia almost 4 years ago was to start working on my retirement early. Right? I started in 2020. I felt like, okay, if these guest houses, the way I saw, our
Mhm.
Kathy's channel growing in X amount of months, in 8 months, she got over to 16,000 subscribers. I see people in the Facebook groups and they want to come and all this. So I'm like, oh, I see this growing. Look at this. People, like you
Mhm.
said, people are still coming. Even after
Mhm.
all this nonsense, people are still coming.
Even.
So imagine if
Mhm.
we had the guest houses,
That's
right?
right.
I would have
Right.
been able to live on the continent more than living here. I'm
Mhm.
still going to always come back and forth. I just wanted to live somewhere else more than I live here and just make money
Right.
here.
Right.
Now, with that being said, I wasn't didn't think about it. They're like, oh, you should purchase land. I'm like, why would I purchase land? I already lost 16,000, right? Can I get my money back first? Right? But like you said, a taxi driver, anyone would tell you that they're selling land. I'm like, bruh,
Mhm.
if you don't have any land yourself with your compound, I'm sorry, I'm not listening to you.
Okay.
Right? That's
Okay.
like listening to someone that talk about skincare, selling skincare,
Right.
and unfortunately they have acne that's out of control. I mean, that doesn't make
Right.
any sense. So,
Right. Right.
you know, it's so with everything that I know you told part of your story or your story about you purchasing land, and then you see how many people come on my channel about they bought land, they don't have their papers, this, that, and the third. This should not even be an issue.
Mhm.
But we can't think that, oh, I'm an American, I'm gonna buy this land, we're gonna be good when Gambians are having issues and they all in court for land
Yes,
issues.
exactly. These are issues that were happening way before we came to the Gambia.
Yep.
Look, I had to Google the damn place. I didn't even know where it was. Okay. And then I was like, oh, okay. I'm just, it was the dumbest thing ever in
No,
hindsight.
no, I disagree with you, Miss L.
Uh-huh.
Because if the person was doing what they were supposed to be doing, it is a great idea.
But you know,
Especially if I'm
what
getting
do they
funded.
say in business? When they
Huh?
say in investment, if it sounds too good to be
It's
true,
too good to be true.
then it probably isn't true, you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but when you have a heart for something, when you feel like you're being called by the ancestors or have a desire to be on the continent, to make a connection with the blackness in you. You
Mm,
know what I'm saying?
correct.
That it's let me tell you something. From the time that I could remember, about the fifth grade on, I was told on a regular basis by my classmates to go back to Africa.
Mm,
And when I finally got here, I was surprised that people that looked like me to tell me to go back was already here, had been here, and okay. So
mm,
yeah, that part. So I'm like, now just hold up, hold up.
mm-hmm.
But that
And it's not an issue.
desire
Mm-hmm.
is a desire. I told you before I was going to read the last stanza of the Black National Anthem.
Mm-hmm.
But it says to stay true to our God and true to our native land. That's in our DNA.
Yep. Yep.
That desire to go back to Africa is in our DNA. Now,
Yep.
some people are afraid to travel or they're unable to travel, but deep within, I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's what they would like to do.
Mm-hmm. And many vocalize that.
That's
Which
right.
is
That's
true.
right.
It's true because it's we always use this analogy. If God forbid we were kidnapped at a young age, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
were still gone for generations, right? Say for 4 or 5
Yes,
generations,
yes.
no one ever came looking for us. We escape. We find out where we come from. We go back to the continent and we like, hey, we're back. Did it now? We would think that maybe some our ancestors are still longing for the person that disappeared and they never
They
found
are.
them, right?
They are.
But unfortunately, that's how I look at it. So I feel like it's a longing in many of us. Now,
Yes.
some of us are just so colonized, they're like, I don't want to go to Africa. Fine, please stay in America. We don't want you. If you don't want to go somewhere, we don't want you to come there. But I
Right.
like you. No one growing up, I'm like, Mom, I want to go to Africa. And she's looking at me like, you don't know anyone that ever been in Africa. What do you, it's been in me. This is why when I
Right.
hit the ground, look, I move around like them. They come talking to me and Wolof, and I'm like, Jetty Jeff, why? Thank you so much. And they're like, you're an American. I thought you was Gambian. Sorry, sister. And walk away, right? So I feel you. It's in us. And I wish that everyone that wants to go can have an opportunity to go back to the continent.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than just us visiting. It's not like the continental Africans that have a dream to come to America. Stella, you should have
Mm-hmm.
went to the bathroom earlier. Sorry, I'm on a live. Stella's sitting there looking at me. And I took her to the bathroom earlier and she went out there and barked at everyone. Now she gotta go. Sorry. I'll take you in a few, Stella. But the way the continental Africans want to come to America, they want to come for money and different reasons. Our
Right.
journey back to the continent, we know is spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
How many times we
Mm-hmm.
get there? I fall down on when I got to the continent the first time in 2012, fell down on my knees and I cried. I
Mm-hmm.
cried. Why? Because I never ever thought that I would make it. I was
Mm-hmm.
30 some odd years old and was
Mm-hmm.
there right through school. So
Yes.
we come back for different reasons, but our journey back, I feel like, is spiritual.
Yes, it is.
And you know, it's hard with us coming back with, you know, we I guess I felt like we all thought it would be a little bit easy coming back, but I guess
Mm-hmm.
it's like it wasn't easy leaving, but we are
Well,
resilient.
I think that we had a romantic view of what Africa is. And I used to tell a friend that you can't love two masters, right? You have to love one and hate the other. And if you have a broken heart from being in America and you desire to go to greener pastures and be in Africa, you're hoping for a different relationship in that country. But
Mhm.
then you get here and you find that it's almost the same. Your heart can be broken here too,
Oh my gosh.
because the expectation of I'm home, just, they like move you out of the way or they pat you down. What is it you got to give? Look,
Mhm.
the funny thing is, my father is from the Caribbean, and it's like the same thing. You have to come with your resources and being prepared to give them something, because they're thinking that the one in America is the golden child. You're the golden child.
Mhm.
You're in America.
Without the
So,
gold.
yeah, but no, but they got the streets still paved with gold. That I've heard they're still telling the same old lies,
Mhm.
that the streets are paved with gold. No, that is glass in the cement. The concrete is mixed up with glass. It's not gold, but it's still very shiny.
Mhm.
and that you can make this quick, fast money. Well, it's it's it, it's not realistic.
It's not,
So,
and it's not fair to us
mm-hmm,
because we don't get the same reception. Like I said, if I walk the streets of the Gambia, right? And I like to walk because it
yes,
helps me to immerse myself into the culture, learn the language, and it helps me to get around, right? I know how to
mm-hmm,
drive anywhere in the Gambia and get
mm-hmm,
around. Now, with that being said, I see that our brothers and sisters on the continent there in the Gambia, they're not harassing the Tubabs the way they're harassing us. And we see a bunch of Lebanese, right? We see a bunch of
mm-hmm.
Lebanese. The Lebanese are walking around like us, right? Whether they going to the mosque or wherever they going, they're walking around like the Gambians. But we don't see them yelling at them, "Hey, taxi, taxi! Oh, boss lady!" We don't see that. So the sad thing is it's sad that we don't, how do we say about racism, it's because people don't, they are too afraid to learn about the next person. And I
Mm,
feel like you said, we're new. They have only seen African Americans on TV and
right,
in movies. Now you're
right.
seeing us in person, right? And it's like we're like these damn daggone aliens. But
Mm-hmm.
then, excuse me, you can't look at movies and look at social media and say, "Oh, those people are crazy. They
Mm,
don't take no junk." And then you think we're gonna take the crap that you all give us for no reason? Because we're
right.
the only ones coming there with love, Miss L.
That's right.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna say this, not all the black British, but we're the only ones coming in love. We're helping. I see how some of the black British treat the Gambians, and it's not nice. It's not nice at all. But the African Americans are coming in love, and we are getting the short end of the stick. And we
Is that
shouldn't.
because we're new to the game?
I
We're new
think
to the
I think it's
game.
because I think it's that. And I think that we're coming and we're kind of letting our guard down because
Exactly.
we're just so dang on happy to be back. Oh my God. Like we're laughing and did loud and we're just so happy to be back. And we don't realize they're looking like, yeah, you see them. Oh, my sister. Oh, my brother. I need this. I need that. And it's
Yes.
sad that
Yes.
we have to come back with still, we all want to rid ourselves of the American BS, right? But we got to
Mm-hmm.
come back with some of our American BS because if not,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to get scammed,
You're gonna
robbed,
get,
and
yeah,
even worse.
yeah,
Even
yeah,
worse.
yeah.
But I think that
One
they don't know
thing,
who we are. They don't
well,
know who
one
we are.
thing that you mentioned, yeah, because we ain't playing.
Mm-mm.
We it's about having a dream and making that dream come true, right? So, by any means necessary is a way to motivate us sometimes. Of course, by any means necessary does not necessarily mean by bad means. It's always going to be good and effective, but as you're trying to keep me from what I want, I'm standing 10 feet in the sand and I'm making it happen regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So there's such a strong desire that it keeps us just going for it. But let's talk about
Can I
other,
just say that's who
yeah,
African Americans are? We
exactly.
made
We don't
they
have a
look at
choice.
where we came from,
We didn't
right?
have a choice.
Right? Our ancestors were the ones that said, "Okay, I'm gonna keep fighting. I didn't jump across the water. I didn't do this." They fought. They fought. They
Hmm.
fought. They fought. And
Hmm.
we are their descendants. So
That's
we
right.
make things happen.
We
I
make
saw
it
how y'all
happen.
made things happen for Anja's home
We
celebration, the big
made it
celebration.
happen.
We
That's right.
always make things happen with
That's right.
nothing.
That's right. Right. And so I say, come here and buy your land.
Now let's
because
talk about
we
what you should do, the steps to take before you come there and buy your land, right?
ooh, the
Because and I'm
steps
gonna
to
speak for myself,
you do, please.
right? Tay Tay is gonna buy land sooner or later, right? I need a house, and sooner or later, I won't be able to live here in America. We are being
Mm-hmm.
priced out. That's just the
Mm,
reality. So anybody that is worried about retirement and you're my age, think about traveling to don't you don't have to come to the Gambia, but
right.
travel somewhere. Don't buy anything as soon as you get there. Learn the system. Learn the country, learn the culture because we're coming into a totally different culture. Most of us grew up as Christians. Now we're
Mm-hmm.
living in a Muslim country,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not that it's a
Mm-hmm.
big difference. It's not like overseas in the Middle East where they will do some things to you
Right.
for certain things, right? The Gambia does
Mm-hmm.
have some freedom. However,
Mm-hmm.
it's still a different culture. We don't speak the language. Make sure
Right.
y'all join my May 13th Wolof lesson. The introduction is free. Okay, the introduction is free. So
May 13th.
so come and join. But we don't speak the language. We don't, it's new to us. So for Tay Tay, when I decide that I want to purchase some land, I'm going to go, number one, I'm going to go and see my lawyer, right?
Mm.
I'm going to take notes where he will tell me from A to Z. That's how the Gambians say it, right? So for example, this is the first step. First step is blah, blah, blah. Okay, do I get paperwork with that first step? Okay, this
Mm.
is yes, this is what the paperwork looks like. This is the next step. I need to know from the beginning, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the end, right? And then I'm gonna go to those places. Land planning, wherever you're gonna get the I'm gonna
See,
go to these
yes,
places
yes.
and
You're
let them
good.
explain it to me, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm educated, then I may be able to tell the next
That's
person.
right. That's
I'm
right.
sorry, but I do not trust these YouTubers that are that's selling land. First of all, if you're selling land and you have purchased land and your land is not clean, I'm sorry, what the hell can you tell me? Because you
Mm.
didn't resolve the issues to your land.
Right,
You see what
right.
I'm saying? We have to take some type of responsibility. Yes, we have these platforms and we can work with these companies and promote their land, but then when something goes wrong because we don't know the steps, then the first thing we're going to say is, "Well, I didn't do it. It's on them." No.
Right,
If you're going to
right.
stand here and tell someone something, right? You need to stand behind it. So,
Yeah, once you know, you do better.
mhm. But I
Okay?
just I see some of these people that are African American or Black British or they are non-Gambians. And they're standing up here talking about some we're selling this, we're selling that, we're promoting this. What do you know? Because in America, we have to be licensed real
Yeah,
estate agent to sell
yeah.
something. So now we go
Mhm.
to Africa and we doctors and we're nurses and we selling the land. And come on now.
You're
What
right.
what what
You're
classes
right.
have you taken? What steps have you taken to know that this is what we have to do? I mean, because that's what I would do. I would do a video.
Well, also too, how could you be absolutely sure? There's no book or manual. It's only by word of mouth.
Mhm,
So they could tell you something. I call it tickling your ears to make you feel good,
mhm,
or it sounds good, but it may not necessarily be true.
mhm,
And because nothing is really written anywhere, you can't find it. You could Google something, right? And
mhm,
pull up somebody else's opinion of that. It may not necessarily be true that what is even on the internet is on this world wide web. You don't know if even what's for being provided there is true. There was someone that shared an article with me this morning about there being someone that was unalived on in Senegambia. The first article had one name, and a different article had the name, but spelled somewhat differently. But because I knew that it was the same person based on the information I received, it was the same article. So what I'm trying to say is one thing could be written one way, one thing is written the other way. Which is the truth? So and the article was almost verbatim, except the names were spelled differently. And I thought,
Oh, that's crazy, right? The name, right? That's the main point of the article.
exactly. So I thought, okay, and then you have very similar names. There are thousands of people with the same exact name,
Correct.
and
And yeah.
yeah,
And then
so
we don't know. We don't know. But listen,
mhm,
I know um two things can say the same thing, right? Say
mhm,
the same thing but a different name. So let's
yes,
talk about in regards to like the land, right?
yes,
Um okay, so you can get different answers from different people. So we know
mhm,
in America, when we call customer service, if it's something important, we call one time, then we call back again. If we get the
mm,
same thing, then we know it's the truth. If we get a different answer, I call back the third time, right?
okay,
2 out of 3. Which one is it? Right? Because we know that everyone doesn't work. So if I have to get
mm,
my little brown, I'm not little, but if I have to get my brown behind up every morning and go to these different places to find out specific information, this will save me so much stress and drama in the
I
end.
I
Because
agree.
I met a few people that I met someone, I talked to someone when was it, yesterday, day before yesterday. Now I met this person through someone else and I ended up blocking the person because the person is crazy. I can't deal with this Gambian dude. He's too combative. He's too combative, right?
Mhm,
But he introduces me to some great people and I'm like, man,
okay,
how are they your friend or family? Right? But he introduced me to this guy, and it just so happens that this guy knew another YouTuber that was selling land. I'm not going to say the person's name.
mhm, mhm,
And they said that they're a big YouTuber. They was and they were helping them out. And I'm like, oh, you know this person? Because the person asked me, did I know the group and then the person's
mhm,
name? And I said, oh, yes, you know that person. So then the person that introduced me to the guy, he said, oh, don't tell them any of their personal business. I said, I don't care about this
mm,
person's personal business, right?
mhm,
Um, the reason what I'm listening and I want to ask questions is because you said something about working with land planning, and I'm talking about the guy, right?
right,
Now he told me that he helped an African American that purchased land from this YouTuber and they were having issues, and he helped them to rectify their paperwork. Now that's somebody
mm,
that we need on the team. You see what
right,
I'm saying?
yeah. And I am so skeptical lately. I'm like, I want to see credentials. There's no company ID card. There's no key fob to enter into the office building. How do I know that what you're saying to me is true?
Very true. And
Mm-hmm.
and see that I feel like going into different businesses, right, we have to do our own diligence. When
Yes, we
I
do.
right when I live there, if there are people that there's a guy that I met in the airport, and this is his business, right? If
Mhm.
say you live in America, say I live in America, you live on the ground, you're in the Gambia, and I'm like, hey,
Mhm.
Miss L, I want to check out this house. I didn't checked it out. I spoke to the owner, this, that, and the third. They're telling me it's this price. Can you go check it out and see if it really exists?
Mhm.
This is his
Mhm.
business. Asset
Right.
recovery. But what he's doing is
Wow.
these are multi-billion-dollar contracts in Dubai. So
Wow.
what he charges is basically a percentage of the money that I save you. If it's real, I saved you some money, you pay
Mm.
me. If it's fake and I saved you some money, you pay me. But what he did was he told me what we have to do on the ground, right? Now,
Okay.
you working with the police. Yes, we know that people, we can go to the police and they got to do stuff based off of their job. This
Mhm.
is their income,
Yes,
right? But if I have
yes.
to bless you with something, that's fine. It's small money in the end, but those are
Mhm.
things that you can incorporate with the
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 cost.
customer, the
Yeah,
client,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Okay, so look, this is Africa, right? So slip me
Mhm.
$25 extra so I can send this, right? Something.
Exactly.
But this is,
Exactly.
we have to learn, and for us single women, we have to learn how to move. Now we have this,
Mhm.
we're American and we have this beauty and we don't look our age. We need to capitalize off of that. Some of these men that work in great places, I go in there, I speak my little wall off, I have my red lipstick on, and they're like, how can I help you? I utilize that,
Exactly.
right?
Mhm.
Because we have
I
to have
agree.
angels in our corner, because that's the only
Mhm.
way for us to learn the
That's
proper
right.
way of maneuvering around anything. Hmm.
I like the fact that you did say when you like to be on the street walking, you'll travel to different places. That's important. If you're leaving it up to someone else to handle it for you, then you almost give them the impression that I got the extra money and it's not as important as I think it is, or as I'm appearing it that it should be. So, okay, I'm going to pay you and you go and take care of that. Which means they could just be sitting underneath a coconut tree, relaxing for the, you know,
Yep.
drinking a taya. And then
Hmm.
3 days later, they present you with some papers that has some
Hmm.
stamps on it.
Hmm.
Because the reality too is we don't know what the original documents or what the documents are supposed to look like
Look,
if we've
yep,
never seen one before,
yep,
you know.
yep.
And so I went and bought my land online, and then through WhatsApp, I received a message. Here are your documents. You are a landowner in the Gambia. And I was excited. And so I went out and bought a larger piece of land. How did I
Because you thought
know?
you
Yeah,
thought everything was good to go.
yeah. And you don't know. You
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Um,
But
also,
let me tell you this. If
yes.
you go to if you go to any of these offices, I went to the ministry, no, the Interior of Justice, Ministry of Interior, when I wanted to open up a security business, right? When I
Okay.
first got there, and you have to have 10,000 US dollars in the bank, right, to cover the employees. But guess what? They showed me the paperwork of people that had businesses and let me take pictures. So that way I know what the paperwork looks like. Now, for us, we're like,
Okay.
man, that is a
Yeah, that's
violation
personal.
of
Right.
privacy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think they're not used to people doing white collar crime.
Hmm.
So they're still
Hmm.
innocent to that.
Not
So
yet.
for me,
It's not happening.
but in the end, it will help us because now you know what the paperwork looks like. So I guess
Exactly.
it's a little gift and a curse, but
Exactly.
we can't just take people's word, even if they come from the West. We're learning.
Mhm,
Take look
mhm,
at what I'm going through. Take my life
mhm.
as a pure
Yeah,
example. We can't
yeah,
trust the people that look like us that are
that's
coming
right.
from where we come from, because
That's
everyone is
right.
not coming in light, love, and honesty,
That's right.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
But if we just do our due diligence and we find out, if you want to purchase land, there has to be something. I would say, like Miss L said, don't purchase it online. Do not. If you want to utilize my services, y'all know I'm in the Gambia pretty often, then hit me up, right?
That's right. That's
And
right.
maybe me and Miss L would have a play date,
Mm,
and
we
we'll
we
go
have a
check it
play
out,
date.
right?
Definitely.
We'll go check it out,
Definitely.
because
Mhm.
we want you all to enjoy coming to the continent, period, if
Yeah,
it's the Gambia or whatever, but we don't want you all to go through some of the things that we have been through. So we have to, even if we're tired, we might have to. Now, just don't bombard us, y'all, right? Y'all got to give us time. But if We can help you all. I know I will help you. I know Miss L will help you. I know Bag will help you. There are certain YouTubers that are open to help, but you know, in
And
in
with
in
even
moderation,
with that
right?
being said, even with that being said, you still want to come.
Correct. Correct.
But because they don't know me like that to be
Correct.
like, oh, I trust her. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? And they don't know you like that.
Mm-hmm. And everyone
Realistically.
have different standards of living, right?
Exactly. That's because
Mm-hmm.
and it could be very challenging here when there's lots of money being put in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Your integrity has to be on point.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it almost means sometimes you take a loss in the beginning because you need to show that.
You not a scammer.
No, that's right.
Correct.
Because there's things that happen as you're moving around. You think it costs one amount, but it actually ends up costing more. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't want to go back to the person and tell them that it's going to cost more. And it's like, I think, you just
I
want to
agree.
avoid the appearance of a scam.
Yep.
I started calling Gambia Scambia, and that's really, really bad.
Well, look, some of the Gambians call it the crying coast. So, I mean, it's
Yeah,
just that
that
we're seeing
we're
the
seeing.
we're seeing it, and we're just putting it to
Yeah,
words. But you're right.
and
You're
that's
right.
unfortunate. But let's talk real quick about Pan
Pan
Africanism. So
Africanism. Oh
we've
man.
gotten we have the challenge of trying to get to the land that our ancestors left, being drawn by the ancestors to come back and to establish ourselves here, whether we come and go just to call this our home.
Hmm.
Is that how does Pan Africanism relate to the desire to be in Africa?
Mm. I like the way you put that.
And I'm going to tell you why I put it that way.
Hmm.
So I Google everything and I decided to Google Pan Africanism.
Okay.
And I was really surprised by what it shared in this comment.
Hmm.
It said here that I want to get the small portion of it. Okay. It says here that I'm sorry, let me just
Take your time.
yeah, because I just want to talk about in this hmm, the way that they were describing it, it had nothing to do with being in Africa. It just has to do with Pan Africanism was the attempt to create a sense of brotherhood and collaboration among all people of African descent,
Okay.
whether they lived inside or outside of Africa.
Correct. That's what I thought it was. That's what I didn't you didn't have to be living on the continent. That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for clearing
So, so how do you have this desire to collaborate and create a sense of brotherhood with the descendants of Africans and those in the continent and out of the continent and not be drawn to the continent?
that out. That I like the way you put that. That's like a catch 22, right? How
Yeah.
can you love your African brothers and sisters and not be drawn to where your I mean, me personally, when I hear people that are African American, or look, I don't identify as African American because Africa is not a country, it's a damn continent, right?
Mhm.
So I am African born in America. But
Okay.
Stella, relax, please. So for me, when I hear people, I ain't black. No. This is what they say. I ain't African. I'm black.
Mhm.
I ain't
Mhm.
connected to those Africans. And I'm like, wow, you ignorant as heck. So where do you
Mm.
think you come from? From
Mm.
the time I know my ancestors, we American. Okay, so I said, okay,
Yes.
well, that's from the time you know, right? That's the
Right.
time you can go back. But where
Right.
are your ancestors from? Where were they? What were they before America was stolen? Because America was
That's
stolen,
right.
right? So it's I never understand. I can't connect to that because I am connected to m- the continent and my brothers and sisters on the continent, whether they
Melasia. Okay. You're mute.
there
Oh,
we
we're
go.
getting the
This mic.
okay.
I don't know what's up with this mic. I think I need to purchase a new one. But how many of us have family members that we don't like? It
Right.
doesn't it doesn't denote
And
or not make them family,
that's
right? So
right.
our
That's
continental
right.
Africans, that's our brothers and sisters over there. Hey, whether you like us or not, there we're still family, right? We're still family.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I don't understand someone that never that is African that does not want to visit, even if you go and you don't like it. I I don't understand people that I don't want to go to Africa. I want to go to Europe, and that's
Paris.
not.
Yeah.
I, I won't. I will never. That's something I will never understand.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but Pan Africanism for me, right? I didn't really I would hear it, but I never really did any research on it because unfortunately, some of the people that I saw that were calling themselves quote unquote Pan-Africanists, it
Mhm.
was always some type of controversy around them. It was always something that it seems like it's like, oh, this is more division than unity, right? Now,
Right.
when I understood what Pan African is and what, like, that's why I said I'm happy that you read you read the definition. But let me just jot down because when you said this to me earlier, I was like, I gotta think about this. Now, what does Pan African mean to me? It means putting my African brothers and sisters first, no matter where they were born, looking
Mhm.
out for them, making sure that they are good, right? Because other nationalities are fine. We're suffering. Um, Looking out for our brothers and sisters first, but not blindly following. I feel like if we're African, we should be able to hold each other accountable when we
Mhm.
are wrong.
Mhm.
That's how it was back in the day.
I
Um,
agree.
and to not blindly follow someone when I know that they are going in the wrong direction. What did Dr. Maya Angelou say? When you know better, you do better. I'm not
But
following somebody that I know going off the cliff.
does it hurt the cause? Does it hurt the cause? If
I think it does, but what do they? It not hurt it. It may put a blemish on it, right?
okay.
Because if you are a true Pan Africanist, right? I don't call myself a Pan Africanist, but
Mhm.
if anybody does not see it, Tay Tay looks out for her people first. And that's because charity begins at home. We're suffering. What the hell I look like going out here
Mhm.
fighting somebody else's battle? My battle
Mm.
has not been won, right?
Right.
So I don't call myself a Pan Africanist, but per the definition, I am. My
Okay.
people come first. But there are some people that are out here that call themselves a Pan Africanist that are tarnishing and putting blemishes on the movement.
Mm.
But guess
Mhm.
what? It's going to be good and bad in every bunch. We have no control
Right.
over that. All we can do
Right.
is still be the light that people want to see.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
my take on it.
I'll take that because I never imagined that I was a Pan-Africanist. My mother, you know, she would be well. she's not rolling over in her grave because she's with me. She's like, oh, okay, it's not so bad. I was like, you wouldn't come here in life, but I think that having your spirit here, I feel a sense of comfort knowing that she's here with me, and
Mm.
I feel that she's happy here more so when I'm on my compound.
Oh,
It's just
when you're at your compound.
yeah, yeah.
It's
I,
home.
it's home. It's
Mm-hmm.
home. And it's
Mm-hmm.
given me the opportunity to share space with others in my family that have passed besides my mother. And so I think for me, making a space for them, not a graveyard, but a
Mm.
place for them to walk.
Mhm.
Because, and I know it sounds so strange, but you cannot say that Africa is not a spiritual place.
Mm.
You know from the time that you get here that it is.
Whether
Now,
you are religious or not,
that's
okay?
right.
You're going to
And
feel it.
the way that it may have been used, sometimes the spirituality is used in a way to trap or trick people, but it's still very spiritual. And you talked about most of us in America being raised as Christians. You get to see the biblical part
Mhm.
of Christianity right here
Mhm.
on the continent. When I see the cows, the herdsmen, I mean, they got the Michael Jordan shirt on, but still,
Yeah.
it's still herdsmen,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
money changers in the street.
Mhm.
When I was in Dakar, there were money changers in the street. And
Mhm.
I'm like, or if you're on the border going to and from, and you get out of the bus, they'll be like, "Hey, you need some sifa, whatever like that."
Yeah.
So that reminds me of the biblical days, the way that they dress. Sorry, but every time I see a black dude dress up I'm like, there goes Jesus, or there goes
Right?
the
Don't
prophet.
let them have that beard, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I am so stupid, but I kind of sort of, and I'm just gonna and we fall for that.
Mhm.
We be
Mhm.
like, oh, there goes my king. That's that will be another topic. We ain't gonna even go there.
But you're right. You're absolutely right. But you do feel even the stereotypes and the things we were taught, that's in our spirit growing up. But all you feel this, you see and feel the spiritual side. You're not going to tell me I talk to the animals in Africa. The fact
See,
that I
most of
speak
us
to the
do.
cow, I'm like, "Hi, Mr. Cow," and he like moo. Stella trying to fight the cow. I'm like, and then the cow turned to walk towards us. I'm like, "I'm sorry, cow. Stella,
Right?
you trying to get us
Exactly.
killed?" And he turned and start walking. You're not going to tell me that these animals, I mean, some of these animals are smarter than some of the humans on the
They
continent
cross
because
the
they
street really well,
yeah,
right?
better than humans. So,
Yeah.
it's spiritual. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Did you say something about your mom? Did your mom ever want to come to Africa or is she
Hell
scared?
no. Hell, no. I
That
never.
generation, right?
Yeah, no.
Yes.
That and still we were misinformed.
Mhm.
That whole commercial thing with the children with the big bellies
Girl,
and the
bye.
blind.
I can't.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes. And to the point where people still think that that's why I show the houses. That's why I show the
yes,
cars because people are
yes.
like, "Wait, what? That's Africa?" I'm like,
Mhm,
You keep thinking everybody poor and
mhm.
broke. You keep
That's
thinking, but
right.
but how many people made money off to save the children?
That's
That's why when
right.
people say to
That's
me,
right.
you're asking people for money, you begging. You don't say that when the Tupac's been asking and having them late
Mhm.
commercials on for hours,
That's
and you
right.
thinking all the children, they got
Yes,
AIDS, they have the snotty nose, the flies, the fat belly. Come on now.
that's right.
But then when
That's
we ask for something to help each other, then it's a
mhm.
problem. But we give
It's
money
a
to Tupac
scam.
left, right, and all around with no questions asked.
Exactly. Exactly.
Tell
You're
me that's
right.
not Stockholm syndrome,
It is. It is.
right?
But I think that the next generation is going to have a different idea about Africa. Hopefully. I think so because what we are doing, we have been called to build bridges here.
Amen.
People are still coming. They're
Amen.
coming. And because they're coming, we're going to make it safer and easier and inviting and fun.
Yes.
And
Isn't that what the elders are supposed to do anyway for the next
yeah,
generation?
that's
And you
right.
see, they're younger and younger, younger and younger. Look at Netnala. Netnala is always on my page. One of these days, she gonna come to Africa, and she's only in her 20s.
Mm,
Right? So
wow,
you are speaking the truth, sister. We
wonderful.
are the pioneers. We have to take these punches, but guess what? We've been on the earth long enough and we know how to take them. We just
That's
can't
right.
lose our minds when we come to Africa because we see all these
Thank
beautiful
you.
men,
That's right.
right?
Stay
We old
focused.
enough to know a man comes a dime a dozen,
That's
okay? We
right.
can't lose our minds
Stay
that way.
focused. Stay
Mhm,
focused. Get
mhm,
the job done. I mean, if you fall in love, fall in love, but don't let it be the death of you. Don't let it be the all of your money is taken from you.
mhm,
Come
mhm.
here and let your life be elevated.
Correct, correct.
You
My
know?
my thing is someone told me, a family member told me, uh I don't know if this is right, wrong, or indifferent, but this is what they told me. When you're younger, you marry for love. When you're older, yeah, you marry for security. I am 44. When I do get married, it's for security,
I
right? We
agree.
can't just fall. We are middle age and older, and we know better. We can't just be falling in love. And then what happens to our retirement? You didn't
That's
work your
right.
whole life and you're gonna give it to this young
Mhm.
person?
Mhm.
No, we can't. I that's another thing I don't understand, but we cannot lose our minds. We've seen beautiful men before, ladies. We can
Yes.
enjoy it and keep it
Yes.
moving.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Look but don't touch.
Yes. I mean, and if you do touch, be smart. Don't think that a
Mhm.
30-year-old love you. I heard about something about a woman in Ghana that's unalive by a 30-year-old because she told him that he could not borrow her car and she had two cars.
Uh-oh.
Yes, but they said she was 80, but I think in the comments they said she wasn't 80, she was 60. But but even though he was 30, we have to be smart about this. Yes, Africa has the youngest population. So if
Yes.
you're a certain age and you want a man or you want a woman, the person may be younger. But this is why I
Mhm.
say that we have to, if we want to be married and we are of a certain age, we have to understand the culture. Some
That's
people
right.
are becoming second wives. Some people don't care that they're becoming second wives. You know why? Because they're American and they could take care of themselves. They just have a husband, right?
Right.
We just
But
need to understand where we're moving to, the culture, and understanding it and finding out what you will accept and what you won't.
exactly. And that goes back to staying connected and having a strong community. One of the reasons why I chose the Gambia is because it's a smaller country. And so I knew that I would run into Americans here far easier than it would be for me if I were in Ghana or in Tanzania or other places like that. For a woman to be unalived by a gentleman over his not being allowed to use the car makes me feel like there was other forms of abuse taking place, because there's a reason why she said no, don't touch that car. You know what I'm saying? So something must have happened to make her decide, I'm not going to let this gentleman drive my car anymore. And then he may have seen the writing on the wall that he was about to be kicked to the curb. And at that point, he may have felt he had nothing to lose but in anger to strike back at this woman. So that's why community is so important. If you're involved with someone, bring him around your friends. Let people know who you're dating, so that if something happens, I hate to say like something could happen, but unfortunately it does. Just let him know that you have a support system,
That is
because
the
a
yes,
lot of us are here alone.
correct, correct.
So you have to know, yeah, I may have traveled here alone, but I got a lot of sisters, and
Hmm.
I got brothers here too now.
Yep.
So,
Because they're studying you. So you
yes.
need to, to each their own. I have to say this. I
Hmm.
know I get on the ladies, and I it's all in love, family. It's all in love, because I don't want you all to go through what I went through or worse, right? You tell someone no, and then you may end up in a horrible position. Y'all know I
Yeah.
got robbed real bad, right?
Mhm.
Now, and then we see all the people that where something has happened and we don't know the ins and outs. We don't know,
Mhm.
right? But we
Mhm.
can assume, and if there is a bumpster involved, it ain't going to turn out good. It's
Mhm.
not going to turn out good. And unfortunately, if you're on holiday like me, sadly, they look, these are the, if you don't live there, you are a target. Because
Mhm.
guess what? They commit a crime against you, and then you got to go back,
Yeah.
right? Most people
Yeah.
can't come back the way I can come back. They
Right.
have, they making good money. They have careers. That's not me. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't make as much money as everybody else, but I have some freedom and I'm okay with that. But we
Right.
all have different paths. But if you are a tourist and you come there, and you're messing with someone and you let him come to your home, he's casing the joint. He know you're leaving. He
Mhm.
knows you're leaving. And
Mhm.
if he asks you something and you say no, you don't know what he's planning.
That's
You have
right.
no idea. So, sisters, I'm not getting on you. I just don't want you to end up in a horrible position. And then
That's
your
right.
family is looking at the country and everything, and they're suffering because you may
Mhm.
not be here anymore.
That's
We have
right.
to move better. We have to
Mhm.
move better. We can't become, like Jill Scott said, the song Digmatized. We cannot let that
Mm.
happen. We
Mm.
can't. No, I don't care who you're dating. As long as he 18 and there's not nothing wrong, right? I don't care. We just want you to be safe.
Be
We don't
safe.
care
That's
who you're
all.
dating. If you bring him around, hey, that's who you're dating. If people
Mhm.
gonna talk
They
regardless.
can
People gonna
talk.
see
That's
you,
right.
but at
That's
least
right.
you're safe. And I can tell
That's
you
right.
this: Tay Tay don't care who you dating. Miss L don't care who you
I
dating.
don't
We just
care.
want you to be safe. That's it.
That's right. Be safe. Be
That's it.
happy and be safe.
Yep.
Come home and enjoy the wonderful continent, and live life.
Mhm.
We're going to talk about relationships in Africa. I have my opinion on why women gravitate toward these men, and I'll just share very quickly. We love black love.
Yeah.
I think we also been tricked on those doggone weddings that they show in Nigeria and Ghana. We want to get dressed up and get married.
Mhm. Mhm.
We want to dance and have some music and have the money thrown at us, and put on our forehead. All of that stuff just seems like very exciting times.
Mhm.
But also too, it's Black love. I'm a Black woman, you're a Black man. Let's do this thing. And because they're so quick to propose, I mean, by the you get in the taxi and you go down the street and he's proposing while you get out.
And don't know your first name or surname, right?
This man gave me his ID card. Said, I'd like to marry you. And look at him like, dude, we dude,
Yeah.
I started telling them to take a number and get in line. And they would look at me kind of weird. And I said, you're not the first one. So take a number and get in line.
And they know that.
They know that.
Because
Yeah.
if you're dating someone, they will try to tell you, oh, don't do they will badmouth each other. Why?
Mhm.
Because they don't
Mhm.
want that person to get to know you. So
That's
I
right.
mean, when people come there and they're like, oh, I need to settle down, look, play the field.
Yeah.
And the more you keep that cookie jar closed, baby, the more you gonna get. And then
That's
that way
right.
you can really see if he wants you for you.
Mhm.
What do we tell our girls? Hey, don't open up that cookie jar,
That's right.
right? Let him
That's
get to know you. Because we
Mhm.
know as a woman, once we open up that cookie jar, now it's like, oh, it's okay. He's
Yeah.
not, we're making excuses.
Here's the trick here. They offer marriage so quickly.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that plays on our Christian upbringing.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get into that, but it is almost 3, and
Oh
I
my
am.
goodness, Miss L. Yes.
Can you imagine? I am no good right now. My insides are hurting,
Oh man.
but
Oh,
it's okay.
we're
I'm
going to
going
have to do a
to
live when I come there so we can be in the same
definitely,
time zone because
definitely.
with both of us being single, I feel like there's so many people and so many single people sit and listen. And these are things that we should talk about. We should talk about this, right?
Yes, and be happy in your singleness.
Amen.
You
Amen.
have to, because if you're not, you're going to pick the first one that comes along, and your life is going to be miserable. You may not want to admit it, but you're not going to be completely happy. So that's why we do these things. We go shopping. We have birthday parties. We I want most of us are here and we're just happy as F. Okay?
Mm-hmm. And you
And
enjoy each other's company,
yes,
enjoying the
exactly.
continent. If a man
Exactly.
comes, fine. If he doesn't, that's fine.
That's
But
fine. Yeah.
we need to understand, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about this is culturally, I can only continue to say
Mhm.
culturally, we need to understand and they need to understand. And as a woman, hey, say what you want and don't be afraid to speak that. For
Right.
example, okay, the woman may want to have some enjoyment, right?
Mhm.
She ain't get no enjoyment in America. She want to have some when she comes to the Gambia. Now the
Mhm.
man, yeah, he knows that he's not supposed to be doing any enjoyment, right? Because the Quran says blah blah blah. However,
Mhm.
he's going to push that marriage, like you said, and
Right.
then our Christian values. Oh, I can't be doing this without being married. Okay, right? There are a lot of things
Meanwhile,
that we
how old
do.
are we? We 60 and we still doing that? We
Uh-uh.
70, we still don't. Girl, if you
Mhm.
don't, yeah.
Mhm. And the
But
thing
keep
is
going.
that's between them and God, but we
That's
can't
right.
just allow someone to push us into marriage when you
Mhm.
are not ready. This is
That's right.
where you talk to the continental African, no matter who they are, where they're from, what their religion is. But if they're Muslim, then they need to understand, hey, We grew up in a culture where we don't just jump in and get married.
Mhm.
We need to date. So guess what? You're not having any enjoyment. That's how
Mhm.
you eliminate it. Let's
That's
let's
right.
get to know each other
That's
because it's
right.
two cultures coming together. So it's about compromising. And then
Yeah.
we have to think about many people are looking for a green card. So yes, they like, yeah,
Mm.
let's get married, let's get married. But hit them with the okay, so we're not doing the justice marriage. We're going to do the ceremonial traditional African marriage and see
That's
how quick
right.
they run.
That's right. That's
But
what
I
I
love
told
you.
them. Go
Yeah.
down to the beach, dip your toe, your big toe in, and he dips his big toe in, and we say our shave 3 times and be done with it.
Okay.
So yeah, keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep it
But thank
simple.
you so much, Miss L. I truly appreciate you. I did share this on my community page. And I think the more we do this, the more, and then we find the right time for everyone.
Mhm,
I think
mhm.
that, you putting the StreamYard link, that there will be more people that will come on and talk. People that
Yeah, I
have
think so
businesses in
too.
the Gambia, people
Yeah,
that on different, as we do different topics, because people are doing the African Americans are doing some great things in the Gambia, but some of them don't want to be online because of all of the
mhm,
nonsense,
mhm,
right? But
mhm.
we can't let the negative overpower the positive when the positive are doing good things. We need to speak on that too. We need
That's
to
right.
highlight people that are doing great things, right? We need to give them their flowers while they're here
Yes,
now.
yes, yes,
There's
yes.
nothing wrong with that.
Most definitely. I do want to start to collaborate with more people, introduce my family, my YouTube family, what is happening here. One of the ones I want to introduce them to is Black Jewel. This idea to come home and let go, to be free, whatever it is. We are burdened when we get here.
Mm,
We may not want to admit it, but if you hear like a car tire blow, we may duck because we
we
think it's
jumping.
gunshots.
Yep.
Yeah, you
Yep.
know, that's because we've been through some stuff, and we have to learn to be at the ocean and let it go. So when I first got here, and the first Juneteenth that we did, we had the ceremony at the ocean, and
Mm-hmm.
we brought the ancestors home. It was the last place that they saw when they left Africa. And
Mm-hmm.
so the meeting has to take place on the ocean, which is why our spiritual ceremonies are always at the beach.
Mm, yes. Oh, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we're dealing with our own trauma, like you said. We hear a
Yes, we
tire or
are.
whatever, we
That's
think it's a
right.
gunshot. But then also Gambia is dealing with their own trauma every day,
Mhm.
unalive, 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 unalive. I'm so tired of seeing this on What's on Gambia. I'm like, what the heck? So now
Yeah.
we're having flashbacks, right? We don't
Right.
we don't hear of a lot of knifing, right, in America, only in certain communities. We hear the pow
Mm-hmm.
pow, but the
Mm-hmm.
knifing is even more personal, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm looking around like, okay. And then, thank God I gotta wear sneakers all the time now. I can't wear flats. Good. Because if my behind need to take off running, I'm out. Each man for himself, right?
And it's a shame that that's how we have to be thinking now. Like, where's
In
where's
Africa.
the other exit sign? Where do I
Oh
go
my
in case
God.
something happens?
Yeah, I never thought we would have to
So,
think like that living
mm,
there. I never
mhm.
thought that, but it's life. What we gonna do?
It's the
Right?
world that we live in. It's the world
Mhm.
that we live in. And the more people come, the more crime there will be, unfortunately, because uh, sometimes there are bad elements that come here.
Mhm. Mhm.
And sometimes there are Gambians that are deported
Yep.
back to
Yep.
that too.
Yep.
I met a few. I won't even share that story, but
No,
that
it's
too,
fine.
you
Yeah.
know?
turns
Yeah,
into something totally different. It's like, well, what do I have to live for? Right.
exactly.
And those people are dangerous.
Yes, they are.
They are dangerous because
Yeah.
they don't have anything to live for.
And they've been to America. If you've been to America and you got kicked out because you were getting into some stuff, you are already used to getting into stuff. So now
Yeah.
you come here and you just gravitate to the same thing.
And
So
then the
trouble.
family turns on them. So that
Yeah.
makes it even worse. And then they
Mm-hmm.
really are just like, I mean, I had a few incidents too, but last time I saw this, the last person, and there's a video about that. He saw me. I was at the police station at Kotu. He couldn't look at me because he
Mm.
remembered me,
Mm.
But he also got hit by a car. I told the police, "Go, y'all need to. He out here doing this." They said, "Oh, he got knocked." I'm like, so you just leave him out there to get hit by a car? They're like, it's not our problem. So
There you go.
it's a
Yeah.
lot of work to do, but I appreciate
Mhm.
you, Miss L, for you all, since Anja, you set this up, and I know we're not on a schedule, but at least we are still doing it, and it
Yes,
will
we are.
grow,
Yes, it
and
will.
it's to help the people that still want to come. That's
That's
just what
right.
it is, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to
All
be
right,
that
sis.
resource. You get some rest. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. You take
Enjoy the
care.
rest of your day.
All right. Bye
Bye.
bye.